You all see it, you see it, you see it. Top of the morning. Yes, my boy's broke on one of the last loads. But all I got is a lawnmower, man. All I have is one lawnmower. And check out Woody, man. Woody's nasty. Woody's dirty. And we coming off of 34. So you know what that means? Hotshot fam, good morning. Me and the OG just came off a team drive with both our trucks in the shop. Like basically since the last video, that video technically really started over in March. All the way through now, it's what, June, I think the beginning of June right now. And guess what? My truck is still having the same issues. I done dumped all types of money on it, close to about $7 grand trying to fix this wiring issue problem. I got a short somewhere, can't figure it out, shop can't figure it out. Now I've been dumping money to the truck. So guess what? Your boy's fed up. It's finally, this is it. I'm done, you know what I'm saying? As you can see, has been going strong. What has been going strong for like 300,000 miles. We got around probably like 120, 150, something like that. Been going strong. 6.0s. Every 30 to 50,000 miles, something happened. You know, you probably could get a good 50,000 miles out of a 6.0, but something really go left, and you gotta fix something. And the second part behind that is that guess what? The truck being so old, parts is finally becoming like discontinued out of Ford. Ford is no longer making a lot of parts like engine, wiring harness, like ICP sensors, all this type of stuff. You're having to get them from overseas, and the parts are not as good. I mean, they're failing immediately. The junk is crazy. So the truck being so old, I believe it's finally time for your boy to move on, and I'm pushing the trigger. I tell the wifey, she's on board. It's time to push the trigger. I showed you in the last video. If you have not checked that out, the last video shows our the two trucks we just got. One has about 130,000 miles on it. The other one has about 150, and they're the same as Woody. 6.6 liter Duramax LGH. And we just got to get it built out. So mine in particular, I'm just gonna go ahead and push the trigger on it. And today's the day I'm headed back home. That's why I got this lawnmower taking me towards the house. And I actually ended up picking up my truck Friday, taking a 34, driving it yesterday morning for the same wiring codes and all this stuff to pop up and happen again. And I'm just done with it. You know what I'm saying? I even though it's a small little short, and once the short is fixed, I basically got a brand new truck. I mean, new, like I said, new PCM, new wiring harness, new fan clutch. I mean, all new sensors. It's basically got a major tune-up. I mean, it's just new stuff all around. And the fact that I can't really get OEM specific parts, which you all know, if you have a 6.0 or if you have a Ford likes specific motorcraft parts. And if you can't get those parts, why do you still have the truck? You know what I'm saying? And that's just my sentiment on it. And it's time for me to move on and do what I gotta do now in order to build this next truck out. I'm gonna YouTube the full thing, man, as much as I can do. I'm battling between the idea of doing stuff myself for you guys to see or taking it to a shop and get it done, because what's a couple $100 at a shop when you can make thousands, you know, over the road, you know, of course, the time, rather than spending my time at home and my money at home not making anything. So a lot of the stuff I make and do myself, but some stuff, you know, the major stuff I know I can't, but you guys are gonna see that and I'm gonna explain later. But needless to say, today's the first order of business. The truck is still in the parking lot from you guys saw the last video. If you have not checked out the last video, just scroll to the darn end if you don't want to see, you know, the beginning parts of what led us up to this moment. Like I said, that all happened in March. We probably, I don't know what month we got the trucks, but needless to say, they've been sitting and parked in the same spot, you know, since then. And so now I gotta get a battery because the Joker doesn't work. It's been sitting for probably over like a year and a half, 2 years. And engine bay about brand new, as you've seen probably in the last video. But we're gonna pick the truck up, get a battery for it, and we're gonna start the build, man. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I don't know how it's gonna get done, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna, you know, trust in the Most High, you know, to lead me through this process and ultimately, you know, get this truck built. And another thing, man, let me adjust this camera. And another thing, like, I'm gonna just let the truck sit. Like, the truck is in Missouri. I'm taking it back to them. They're probably gonna be feeling all types of bad. I gotta call them in a little bit at the shop. But, you know, you can't even blame the mechanics, because it's one of them situations where the codes only pop up whenever they decide to feel like it. I could be driving for 800 miles and nothing pops up, and then I hit brakes or do something, and boom, like, wrench light comes on, check engine light comes on, all the codes pop up, etc., etc. they've been driving my truck. I'm not really sure how hard they drive it, but they even drove it for 300 miles. Even when I dropped the truck off the first time around, when I got the engine harness put in, I drove the truck right up the street. It malfunctioned, but then I tested it out again and drove like an hour up the road and came back. No, there was no codes that popped up after I cleared everything. So it's very difficult for them to figure out, you know, the problem with my truck. So I feel for them, but they got to do that happy hunting, because you know, it's a blessing to be able to have a backup truck. That's definitely the goal. Like when you have Hotshot, because I mean, it just saves you. You can survive, you know, when you have a backup truck. And so I'm very grateful for Woody, and so I'm gonna be in it definitely for, you know, the time being, popping in and out, and I can roll while they figure this out, because I spent a whole month spinning my wheels trying to figure out and diagnose it myself based off the codes. They try to basically do the same thing that I did, and they couldn't even. I told them basically not even to do that stuff, just do the major engine wire harness, because we just don't know. And the truck's so old, might as well just put another one in. They couldn't even find an engine wire harness before. They got to get one out of an old Excursion, a Ford Excursion that didn't even fit the 350. Well, it fit like 350, but it didn't come from a 350. But it fit, you know, it worked. It came out of a 6.0. So. And I got the new PCM. They thought it was a coding issue. Maybe my codes was wiping out the PCM, because I had bought a PCM while I was at home and installed it myself. That didn't solve the problem. They did the exact same thing, and clearly now we back in the shop because that didn't solve the problem. So I don't know. Side note. Scripture says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not into thy own understanding, and always acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. That's why you trust in the Lord. Do everything, acknowledge him in your ways and what you're doing, and he gonna lead you where you gotta go, man. But you have to acknowledge him. But that's just a side note. I had to throw that script in there. Back to the video. What's going on, YouTube fam? We have got the first mod of, I don't even know. I think I'm gonna rename the truck. It was Roxy, but I think I'm gonna rename it Angel. I've always liked the name Angel, and I think I'm gonna just name the truck Angel. We're gonna swap it up. I don't know what I told y'all last video, but the new truck is named Angel. So we got the first mod of Angel, and Dirty Woody gotta get him cleaned up when we get home, because that's where we headed. And the first mod is the Optima red top battery, 1,000 cranking amps, and probably what, 850 cold cranking amps. With all the accessories that we're running, the temperatures that we run super high, we run super cold in the winter. We gotta be prepared, man, and we gotta be prepared with a good battery. So that is the first order of business, considering the truck is not cranked right now because the battery's so doggone dead. So I'm gonna go home, put the battery in, and once I do that, I'm gonna be able to run the codes on the truck, see what needs to be done, and move on from there. The first mod is complete. Get it inside of Woody. Take her on home. But anyway, y'all stay tuned for the next. I will say this, I had this one more thing. It was important for me to find this battery on the way home, because you cannot just grab, most of the time you can't just grab these batteries out of the store. You know, you 9 times out of 10 gotta order them. Most stores and get them like next day. Napa can, AutoZone can. But needless to say, you know, if there's a good chance your area does not just have these batteries just sitting on the shelf. This particular one did on the way home, like I said, so I went ahead and grabbed it. The ones near, you know, the house, all the locations, they were not gonna be here until tomorrow, but tomorrow I got a really busy day. I'm not trying to be fooling around with no battery. I'm trying to do other stuff so I can get back on the road and get this truck in the shop, man, because the next step, once I kind of figure out what the truck is doing, the next step is gonna be performance, man. You got to make sure the truck runs before you start doing all this extra stuff and investing all this extra money into a build that, you know, you don't want your truck to just not work, or something to be going wrong motor wise and you can't, you know, and you got to get that fixed. So I'd rather, you know, put all my money into the motor and just the performance overall of the vehicle first, and then we'll worry about the build and then the cosmetics last. So that's the plan. Anyway, that's y'all, me out, man. Y'all stay tuned. All right, YouTube fam, so we made it to the trailer spot. Woody's tires rotated. It still needs to do all the maintenance, all the cleanup and everything before I leave tomorrow. I load headed up to Iowa, but before I do that, I got to drop this truck off at the shop to get whatever performance stuff and batteries and get everything checked out, hoses, everything. Just get a once over the truck first while I'm gone. But anyway, I got the tools set out. We're gonna grab the battery and oh boy. and we're gonna see if the truck cranks up. So check it out. This is the battery that came out of Woody, or not Woody, but Angel. That's the new name. This is the specs on it. It was 850 cranking amps and 690 cold cranking amps. On the positive post, we definitely had some acid leaking. That's why I got the AGM battery, because I'm not trying to deal with no type of acid leakage at all. We got corrosion on this negative side, which ain't too bad. I'm gonna take a wiring brush to some of the pieces that was on there, and then go ahead and install it into this side. And I'm happy actually it has these top posts, because I'll be able to take any of my accessories and just go ahead and mount it to it. I don't know, maybe some sort of I don't know, just any sort of accessories can be mounted to that top piece. So I'm happy it's there. And just reading the specs on it, so you guys know it's 1,000 cold cranking amps. I mean 800 cold cranking amps and 1,000 cranking amps, which is like way better battery than the other one. And darn, this thing done came out already. Something. See how this thing go in. But anyway, we're about to go ahead and get this battery installed and crank her up.
You'll end up what, Michael?
Smoking on the side of the road.
And why is that?
If your battery posts aren't tight, that positive cable get a little loose and touch the wrong thing, it's a wrap. Could be in a world of hurt. Don't ask us how we know. I'm the Freight Chasers fam. The thing I just found out is that the drive shaft, when they drop the truck off, it actually, he hand tied the bolts back in. That's definitely something we got to do before we pull off with this thing. And put it on the trailer, and then shoot, we'll be ready to roll, man. All right, YouTube, I just finished torquing these things down, getting the drive shaft, completely put back on. I don't know why they removed it when they dropped it off, but we finally back. Took like 2 seconds, no big deal. And yeah, we're gonna drive it around, and yeah, we're just gonna drive it around and make sure it runs. So let's get to it.
Take it slow, but you should be.
Truck. Gotta move the truck. We got Angel up on the trailer, and y'all drove it right on up. It's the beauty of being a hotshot. You can go ahead and move your own equipment. But I did run the codes. Y'all check out the picture right now. Codes is like EGR related, all oxygen, EGR, that type of stuff related. So this is one of the reasons why we're taking to the shop first before we do anything to this truck. The truck has to run and at least be at a running position with no codes, no nothing, before we even decide to add all this stuff to the truck. We just got to know what we're doing on that end as far as pricing and everything concerned, and then we can proceed with the build. And but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get to the shop. We got an appointment with the wifey, and I got an appointment with my kids. But anyway, y'all stay tuned, stay blessed, peace. What's going on, YouTube fam? We're back in the 6-0. I'm slightly happy. You know, I ain't gonna lie to you. But I have a soft spot for this truck, which, you know, granted, I've been hotshotting for this truck for like, what, 4 years now? 4 years, maybe coming up on 5, something like that. Either way, had the truck since 2020. Put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the truck. And what is it, $5,000 later, I think we finally may have found the issue of the truck. And I'm gonna do a full rundown of it a little bit later. But needless to say, I'm testing it out. We're going all the way to St. Louis. I mean, not St. Louis, but Salt Lake City from Missouri, the Missouri area where, you know, the shop is. I went ahead and dropped off Woody. I had this load right here. Yes, we getting it. So I had that load right there, and that load I was driving, I got from Georgia, you know, coming from home in Woody. But Woody needs some brakes, and I was like, they told me the truck was basically done. They haven't really touched over anything, so, you know, it kind of be a risk for me taking it. But I was like, okay, whatever y'all did, basically what they did was change the pickup out this time. And I did some more research this morning on the truck on what could have been wrong. The only thing I found out was the same. I finally found a video with a guy with the same exact symptoms as me, which is all electrical wiring stuff. And he said that it was his map sensor, which that was one of the very first things I did. Very first things I did was press the map sensor in the darn rain, and my hood fell on my hood of my truck fell on my head because it was winter, windy. That was back when the winds was going crazy, like all around the country. I'll never forget because the hood fell on my head. And I changed out the map sensor then, as well as 1,000 other sensors myself before I even, you know, well, in the process of me, I guess my first steps going down this road. And this was all the way back in March, you know, from like maybe like a video or two ago. So anyway, yeah, we tested out the truck finally after a series of back and forth to the shop with this truck, swapping trucks. I mean, it's just really been a pain in my side. It really has. And yeah, the only thing that's really different is the pickup. This time around is the pickup, and I got another map sensor that, well, really the map sensor was under warranty from O'Reilly's from the time I swapped it out over, you know, back in March, you know, like 3 months ago. So I ended up swapping it out, put a new one in. Of course, there's already a new engine wiring harness in here already. Of course, I changed out all the sensors. I mean, even the fan, clutch fan, as well as the pigtails. I mean, everything. This truck is like, it's so much stuff like that's been changed out. This truck is about brand new. You know, it really is. Aside from the body, this truck is about brand new. So either way, we're running it, and we're gonna see what it does. You know, prayerfully I don't get all this situation. You know, I don't clear the codes. Nothing has happened so far. Of course, like me riding for about 2 hours, that's normally when stuff starts to show up, at least on the probably like the median range. You know, sometimes it's within a mile, sometimes it's in 2 hours, sometimes it's in 8 hours. So I'm gonna get all the way to what is it called, Salt Lake City, which I'm picking up a load coming out of Iowa after I drop this one off in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. And then I'm gonna go all the way to Salt Lake for the weekend from a 34, come all the way back, and by the time I get back, I should know so. But anyway, I shall be out, man. Y'all stay tuned for what we're doing with this truck. I just pray for your boy, man. Pray we make it with no issues, because right now I'm running stock. It's definitely different. No tune on the truck. Just trying to make sure we run in stock and, you know, eliminate it. Faulty tunes and stuff out of it. But either way, I got a new PCM for the truck as well. You know, it's my second PCM, and of course it's a couple months. Yeah, man, the other PCM I'm gonna send back because I got like a better quality one, I guess you could say, that was programmed like specifically for my truck better, rather than the flagship one PCM that I got. That one they shipped me. All I needed was my VIN number and everything. It came back probably in like a week or two, and basically what they do is, the only reason I noticed is because there was a delay on the PCM. That's why a lot of this process is actually taking so long. What they do is they take a truck that's very similar, somehow code in the VIN numbers to that specific truck, and wiring harness and program your truck like that. You know, this particular program, and for some strange reason they needed both of my keys, like 2 keys, and they had to have the VIN number as well. So I don't know what the difference is, but I know that this PCM cost me way more money than the last PCM. The flagship one cost me like $200 something, but it got a lifetime warranty. So I'm gonna get some stuff redone because they didn't put my my tire size correct. So I'm thinking that's why I got a tire revolution code just on that PCM. So I gotta send it back and fix that. I'm gonna keep it with me as I guess a backup PCM. So I already spent the money. But anyway, we're gonna see what it do and see what this truck do, and see how we're moving forward, because there's a lot of talks, a lot of ideas out there, and see what we land with the business and how we're gonna